Thank you very much. I think this is the time that we need to raise up our voice because there is a war. If there is no war, we don't need to call for peace. It's very beautiful to see people demonstrate against the occupation, against the oppression. I just was outside to free Palestine, for ceasefire. It's amazing. But I want to say to you, to join me in saying, between the river and the sea, everyone must be free. Because this is what we call for. If we ask you to be pro-Palestinians, it doesn't matter. We don't need you to hate the Israelis. We didn't do anything. Our message of love, peace, reconciliation, freedom for everyone. So I think this is our duty to raise up our voice, especially now, people like us who lost their beloved one, because we have no fear, because the worst already happened to us. It's a matter of personal responsibility. We want to protect our other kids. By free the Palestinians, and believe me, the Israelis, they are under the same occupation. They are paying the price of this occupation. So both of us are victims to the same enemy. When we free Palestine and Israel from the occupation, then, only then, we can be free. Because people who occupied another people will never feel free. We don't want to liberate the Palestinians and occupy the Israelis. Thank you.
Thank you for coming to see us. My question is, how could you imagine to make peace without justice?
One evil does not justify another evil. And we should look at the future and not at the past. We should stop digging into our wounds, who started what, who's to blame, and look at the prospects for the future. There are 12 million people between the river and the sea. Half of them are under military law. Half of them don't have any democratic right whatsoever. Half of them are being judged by judges who judge by rules that the half did not vote for. So this is the essence of the problem, and it can be changed. It must be changed. This is the future. So I always say we can have one state or two states or 10,000 states. We can have confederation or federation or whatever we choose. We are not politicians, and we don't offer solutions, we don't draw maps. But we say, and you can see the living experience of it, that one word is essential. Without it, nothing will happen. The word is respect. And you have to be able to respect the guy next to you exactly as you want to be respected, no more and no less. Once you achieve this, all the rest are technicalities. You can have the Temple Mount for 2 hours, I will have the Wailing Wall for another 2 hours.
1 hour.
Okay. And then we will stop killing each other because we will not disappear. The Jews will not be able to throw the Palestinians to the desert. The Palestinians will not be able to throw the Jews to the sea. We are doomed to live there together. And it's up to us to decide whether we are wanting to share this land or to share the graveyards under it. I think they run out of questions.
Difficult questions for Rami, please.
I have a question to both of you. We're not in Israel, not in Palestine, we're in Luxembourg. What are your expectations from the Jewish and the Muslim community in this regard? What can we do? Because we're not really part of the conflict, but we are still somehow related. So, what are your expectations?
Thank you very much. In fact, I would like to see the Israelis and the Palestinians and the Jewish and the Muslims and the Christians together, demonstrate together against the injustice, to be pro ceasefire, as I said from the beginning, to come together. Otherwise, maybe you enjoy yourself to be pro the Palestinians against the Israelis, or the opposite with Israel against the Palestinians. You just create more hatred between Jews and Muslims and Christians in your own society, your own community. So we ask you always to be pro peace and justice against the occupation for anyone, for everyone. Again, otherwise you will create more hatred and divide between you in your own society, in Luxembourg, in Norway, in America, in Canada, everywhere. So if we come in the same voice, we will make a difference.
I'm a son of a Holocaust survivor. My late father was an Auschwitz graduate. And 80 years ago, while they took my grandparents to the ovens here in Europe, the free and civilized world stood aside, never lifting one finger. And today, while these two crazy nations of ours are massacring each other without any mercy, while this genocide is taking place in Syria, the atrocities in the Ukraine, in Yemen, wherever you look, people are drowning in the Mediterranean like flies, and the free and civilized world is still standing aside, doing nothing. And standing aside while a crime is being committed is also a crime. If we won't be able to join forces of every human being exercising its moral obligation to be human, not to take sides, not to have the mentality of a football fans in a game where my team is the only team counts, then we can stop this madness. We can stop this bloodshed. We can stop this. And I believe that now we are at the lowest point possible. And I deeply believe that I was a soldier 50 years ago. I was fighting this horrible October 73 war. I lost many good friends. We started into the company of 11 tanks and finished it with only 3. And 6 years later, we had a peace agreement with Egypt. 3,000 Israelis died in that war, and no one questioned the peace with Egypt. I think when people will rise up above the occasion and understand that the conflict did not start in October 7th and will not end in October 8th, the rage in Israel and in Palestine will create a new atmosphere which will enable peace. And it's up to you and all the people who are sitting on the balconies watching this reality game to take a side.
Vous pouvez aussi poser vos questions en français et je les traduirai en anglais, il n'y a pas de souci.
Hello, my name is Ariel. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for showing on the film. I heard your message, and still there's something that doesn't fit with me, because what we see today is of such a magnitude of, you told us your story about you both got hurt and you both chose peace. But how is that possible when we see that currently we can see that there's a deliberate intention to annihilate one of the sides from another side? So this is what still, bothers me to say. How is it possible to move on when so much hurt has been caused now, when so much, revenge is boiling? That's if I put out the big word out there, there's, a colonialism mentality. So yeah, what can you add about, the magnitude of what is happening? Thank you.
Thank you. Did Rami ask you to move on? Don't follow him. We ask you not to move on. It's the opposite. Martin Luther King says, in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. So we call you not to keep silence at all. You need to raise up your voice against the atrocities, against the mass killing, against the genocide, against the occupation, against the injustice for the Israelis and the Palestinians. This is what we need. I believe if you support justice for the Palestinians, it means you are pro-peace and security for the Israelis. It's obvious that if the occupation continues, we will continue to sacrifice the blood of our kids. We will never accept the occupation even after 3,000 years. So for that, you need to raise up your voice against the occupation. But what we mean, it's not anti-Israel, anti-Jews, anti-the Israelis. It's anti-occupation, against the occupation, not against the people of Israel. This is what we mean. Thank you.
Could I, just after our young friend has spoken, can I just say this? I was born in the year that Israel was formed. I was born in Australia. I grew up with Jewish children. I learned the Jewish narrative, a land without people for a people without land. I believed. I was recently in Australia. One of my best friends could not even talk about this current problem. So deep was the pain and the anger that she felt. I have to tell you, I have felt your pain during this film. It was so enabling, because you show us the only way forward, the real way forward. And that is the only thing that we must see. And I just want to thank you. It is as if this story of Israel and the Palestinians is written in my heart, in my body, in my life, even though I'm so far away. But we care, and we want exactly what you have just outlined as the way forward. And thank you so much for giving us this hope.
You just gave us a reason to wake up in the morning.
Just to say that Australia, your country, it was worse than Israel-Palestine. Today it's a paradise. So we deserve also to look forward and to release ourselves from the very painful past, which is over. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your film. Thank you so much. How can we amplify your voice concretely? What can we do to share your message? Share your movie? Is it accessible online? And also, are there any other organizations that are composed of both Israelis and Palestinians that we can know about and also follow and share? So other organizations who have the same message as yours.
There are vast amount of people who support us in Israel and around the world. You just have to Google us. It will blow up in your face. And there are so many organizations, Israelis and Palestinians, so many people that understand the futility of this ongoing massacre, mutual massacre, and they want a way out. And there are huge efforts are being done within both societies who are victims, both societies who are bereaved. It's very difficult. This is where you come into the picture. We belong to two angry societies. These are two societies at war. They need to prepare the young generation to be able to sacrifice themselves when time comes, joining the IDF, joining one of the organizations. And the only way to do it is by hiding the other side and demonizing the other side. So we need to put cracks in this wall, like Leonard Cohen sings. And you are part of the force to put the cracks, to let the light comes in. There are organizations like Combatants for Peace. There are organizations like Standing Together. There are organizations like Breaking the Silence. All these organizations carry one message. We are not silent. We raise up against injustice, and we want to solve this problem. And the power of this organization will grow and grow. As the bad as the situation is, people will look for hope. These organizations are the hope, and your support is essential for the continuation of their activity.
So maybe I will answer this more technical part. I mean, the movie is not available online. It's a choice of the filmmaker because the movie is still recent. So for copyright reasons.
But there are so many more movies around on Google which are
yes.
free to use, and as I said, it will blow up.
This movie is number 12.
Yes, and you can go on the website of the Parent Circle, and there are a few videos, among them videos of the son of Bassam and Rami, that is also very good. They are also telling the story of their sisters, so you can find some materials.
And also the most important thing is get into the website of the Parent Circle. You can read more stories like ours. You can read about our activities, the lectures at high schools, the narrative groups, all the things that we do in order to put the crack in the wall. And when you get to the bottom of it, there is a little round button. It says donate, you can push it.
And I will add, we were 2 days ago at RTL Today. So if you look on the website RTL Today, you search for the name. There is an interview done by Lisa Burke for 50 minutes, which is quite rare. And so please look at it, share it, listen to it. And yeah, this is going to help also to have more echo here in Luxembourg.
I also think the movie is right now on Arte, if somebody is interested. My question is, yesterday I was listening to an interview with Stella Assange, and they reminded that like the biggest leak was a video of American soldiers shooting at people and also killing Reuters journalists, and that was like the biggest state secret that was leaked. And we know what happened to the publisher, Julian Assange. And in my mind, I was just thinking, today we are seeing soldiers that are so proud about the most atrocious war crimes that they are committing every day since 5 months. They are filming themselves and they are putting it on TikTok. And also not only soldiers, but people from Israeli society that are mocking the Palestinian population that is being genocided. And they film themselves mocking it and putting it also on social media. And it's so disturbing. It feels like this is such a morally and spiritually compromised, such a dark place. Like, how how do you, like, I don't know, maybe I'm also in an echo chamber of certain media also, like, how is it for you to live right now in the Israeli society? I think that's my question. And how do you think there will be a comeback of a moral standard that is like acceptable for our humanity?
She accepted you. You want Rami to answer? Thank you.
These are appalling pictures. The pictures are two-sided. You know, there are appalling pictures from the kibbutzim in Israel of the 7th of October. And what happened is that social media turned it into a competition of pain. And as I said earlier, the whole event became a reality game, like a television reality game. You sit on the balcony, you watch these crazy sides fighting each other, and they show their wounds out, ugly wounds, horrible wounds, unbearable wounds, and they ask you to identify with the wound of one group and not the other. The social media flattened the discussion. The social media enables you to choose your sources of information. The social media enables you to absorb fake news and mold it into your perception. I don't know how to deal with it. The only thing I can do is to tell you my personal story, and to tell you the personal story of my brother, and to show another way, and to show a way of thinking, and show a way of listening and identifying with the pain of all, and understanding that we are in a deep shit now. And our task, our joint task, all of us together, to pull ourselves from this man and find a solution, because it cannot go on like this.
Earlier, I was standing at the stall. There's a group in Luxembourg that you know, Committee pour un Paix Juste. Like, they've brought people to Israel and Palestine and have met their family circle in Palestine. And a rare experience happened that an Israeli man came up to talk to me. And he really wanted to talk, and he wanted me to listen and hear his pain as a father with 2 young children here in Luxembourg, and somebody who'd been a commander in the IDF. And I listened to him, and I heard his pain, but it was really the pain of one side. And what he wanted to express to me was at the stand with the Palestinian flag, and there's photos of journalists who've been killed. He wanted me to understand that our presence there, felt like a threat to him. That he felt that, you know, that we were putting his children at risk. So you've just said to us that we need to use our voice and we need to be fighting for justice. But do you have any comment, you know, like at a psychological level? Like for me, and the people I know who are part of this committee, they're the most moral and dignified and anti-racist people who support the rights of everybody, and that are not anti-Semitic in any way. But I know anti-Semitism is real, but you know, at a psychological level, like how can we work to move forward so that having a voice for justice doesn't become an existential threat to somebody? I think this one's a bit more for Rami, isn't it?
You know, it's for Rami, but I will answer it. Because I am a half Jew. You know, always I said that, luckily that I am not a Jew. I'm not an Israeli, seriously. When I started to know the Israelis and the Jewish in general, it's not easy to grow up with 3,000 years of very heavy history of slavery and discrimination and anti-Semitism and the Holocaust. It's not invented victimhood mentality. It's there. And the Holocaust, it's not before 3,000 years. It's just yesterday. And the Holocaust survivors still told the story. So it's not easy to grow up as a Jew or as an Israeli because of this victimhood mentality and because of the very painful past that the Jewish go through. So I can understand this fear of this man. Everything is threatening him. But here comes something called anti-Semitism, which is industrial thing also. To use it to shut up you and the others who start to raise his voice against the Israeli policy. It's totally something different. To criticize Israel is not anti-Semitic. To criticize atrocities and wars and massacres, it's not anti-Semitism. So you need to know that and not to have this, to accept this threat to keep your silence. And Rami will continue now.
You really did a perfect job, my brother. You expressed my feelings most accurately. I will just add one sentence. I am a Jew. I'm a proud Jew. I have the utmost respect to my people, to my history, to my tradition, and to my religion. And I will tell you that ruling and oppressing and humiliating and occupying millions and millions of people for so many years without any democratic right is not Jewish. Period. There are no two ways about it. And being against it is not anti-Semitism. If you get into an argument, you can quote me. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that Israel has become the last safe place on earth for Jews. There is this new kind of anti-Semitism created by the Israeli fascist behavior, created by the Israeli brutality, created by the fact that we are living on our sword and we are afraid to let it go, because the minute we will put it down, we will die. Our second Holocaust will happen. And we need to get rid of two elements, two basic elements in our identity as Israelis in order to achieve peace. One is the victimhood mentality, which every Jew have it under his skin. 3,000 years of victimhood. We are born with it, we are teaching it. We send our kids to Auschwitz when they are 16, and they come back draped with the national flag and the slogan "Never Again." And the next day, this 18-year-old kid finds himself in a checkpoint, and he have to make a decision whether this old man coming towards him is a time bomb or just a grandfather, which is inhuman. The other thing is this Jewish superiority, the Jewish nationalism, the understanding that we are better than others. We are not. And we have to do a restart, like in a computer. We have to redefine the reasons that we are willing to kill for and the reasons that we are willing to die for. The only country on earth that defines itself by religion is the Democratic Republic of Iran. We need to change it.
You just said that you have to change the reasons you are willing to fight for and the reasons you are willing to die for. What echoes do you get precisely around these issues and around identity issues when you go to high schools and speak with young people?
I think I was talking about it in the in the film they are not polite and receptive as you are. It's like walking into the open mouth of an active volcano. The earth is shaking. They are not used to see Israeli and Palestinian which are not fighting each other. And it became very difficult. Once in an Israeli high school, one of the kids told me, it's a pity I wasn't blown up with my daughter. In Bethlehem, a schoolmaster told the kids not to listen to me because I weakened their will to fight for freedom. And as Bassam told you earlier, we are living in two sick societies, two angry societies, two bereaved societies which are blind out of victimhood mentality of both sides. It's our task, it's our mission to show them the mirror and to express the other way, that it is possible to respect each other, that it is possible in spite, we have every reason on earth to want to kill each other, but we call each other brother.
Because I don't want to kill you, that's it.
One of your motto, I would say, is to consist in saying, if you want to find a solution, we have to speak together. In this region of the world, you have many interests involved, many countries, many different political opinions. So, how do you think you can manage it? Who would you like to see sitting around the table to discuss with you?
Yes, in fact, each state, we hear that they are waiting for the international community. And we wait for this international community. Each country said the word, the human rights, we don't know what's that. So in fact, it's many elements in Europe, in United States, in Canada, in the UK, Iran, many elements need to agree to release us, not to be victims to their policy. Because Israelis and Palestinians, both, we are victims to the international policy. For that, it's very important for every state to follow their own beliefs, their own decisions, their own values. Every country believes in two-state solution. We already have one state, so we call the word to recognize independent Palestinian national state, free state, then they will short our suffering. Then I believe in this case, Israel have nothing to do just to accept this recognition from the world and recognize the human rights of the Palestinians, the Palestinian right of self-determination to create their own state. Again and again and again. As long as the occupation continue, we will continue to fight, we will continue to die, we will continue to sacrifice the blood of our kids. So I believe the world has become pro-Israel to defend the Israelis and the Jewish people. They need in the same voice to prevent another massacre for the Palestinians, another Nakba for the Palestinians, to achieve ceasefire and give the Palestinians their right, because this is the only guarantee for the Israeli security. Israel tried to make peace with the Emirates, with Saudi Arabia, with Sudan. It doesn't work. They need to make peace only with the Palestinians, because we live there and we can guarantee their security if we are free. This is the main issue, and for that we call the leaders of the world to recognize Palestinian state.
I imagine that not everybody will agree with you in Israel. So,
to say the least.
Okay, so I would like to ask about persecution about persecution because of what you do. I imagine that there are a lot of people who do not agree, and what do these people do who do not agree? This is my first point. My second point is, never in my life, in my long political life, I had such discussions as just now. It is not possible even to speak with friends. Maybe you are for Israelis, maybe you are for Palestinians, but it is very difficult to speak as you speak. And we are in a situation that never people will agree with you here in Luxembourg. And so the consequence of all this is that a lot of people who spoke out freely, usually, they prefer not to speak. And I think it is very important for us in Luxembourg to break this silence.
Thank you so much for your question. This is connecting to what I told you about the social media and the atmosphere and the mentality of the football fans. You need to be able to stand up for your views. You need to stand up for justice. You need to stand up against injustice. And I agree, it's very difficult. In our countries, Bassam, in his society, is a hero. He's highly respected. He spent 7 years in jail as a freedom fighter or terrorist /. He lost his daughter. People look up to him and are willing to listen to him. In my society, it's a little bit different. We are suffering from persecution syndrome. And if people are willing to listen to me because there is a huge respect for those who paid the price. But you saw on the movie the reception that we have on Memorial Day. Once you open your mouth, you should expect the worst of the worst. And you need to be courageous, and you need to be determined, and you need to be very, very sure of yourself to convey this basic message. We are swimming against the current. It's not easy. But this is the only way, because the other way leads to nowhere. And we cannot allow ourselves to give up. As Bassam said earlier, the worst already happened to us. And I'm used to it that I lost many, many good friends. But I gained a new family, and new friends, and new admiration from other people, from you. So it's not a matter of a game of popularity. I don't want to be popular. I want to create communication. I want to express my feelings. And I want to show that there is hope, that we can behave differently. And the price is a price.
Ici, s'il vous plaît. Encore une ou deux questions. Hein.
Thank you so much for coming and letting us share your experiences. I read in the newspaper, in the Luxembourg newspaper, that you had a meeting with the Democratic Party of Luxembourg and planned, or maybe it happened already with the Christian Social Party. So the two parties that are in charge of Luxembourg now. So, and as you asked, I suppose you asked them to recognize Palestine. I'm wondering what the reaction was.
This is for Martin. Where is Martin?
The very right moment, please.
She left by purpose, not by chance.
She left on time. I think on both parties, they were overwhelmed. They were deeply touched by our stories, and here's Martin to tell you the rest. The reaction of the two parties that we met.
well, they didn't say really anything. I think that the topic will be discussed because of this petition that was done at the Chamber of Deputies. That was in 5 days, enough signatures, so there will be a debate on the recognition of the status of Palestine, and let's see how the parties will express themselves on the topic.
And it was a positive meeting.
So we have time maybe just for one more question.
I would like to draw your attention to a book that was written about us. The name of the book is Aperagon. The word Aperagon means shape with endless number of sides. It was written by an American Irish writer by the name of Colin McCann. He met us in 2018 in Bejala, near Bethlehem. He was part of a group that came to the offices of the Prayer Circle to listen to our stories, more or less what you heard. He was crying like a baby, and we went to comfort him, and he asked permission to write our story. The book came out in March 2020, just before COVID. It immediately became a bestseller. It won the New York Times Bestseller Award and was nominated to the Booker Prize and other prizes. It was translated to 17 languages. On Thursday evening, there was a launching of the translation of this book to Hebrew. Huge amount of people came and supported it, and now it is being translated into Arabic. So I urge you to buy it and to read it.
You can buy it today at the end of the discussion on the rez-de-chaussée, on the ground floor. There will be the book to be bought, and Bassam and Rami can sign and write a word for you. So we just take now the last question, and then we will need to close.
Because I wonder how to speak up as a non-Jewish person against what's happening, and kind of continue to raise your voice also against the what's the word? Be called anti-Semitic.
I think we addressed it, and the only simple answer I can give you is don't give up. Raise up your voice, exercise your right to be heard, don't be shy, and fight for your principles.
Oh, thank you. So, please, we will continue to downstairs if you want to buy the book. Don't forget, you will see a giraffe outside where you can give something to the giraffe. And don't forget to give back the headset. The giraffe is for the donation. So the headset, you can put them back in the box or give it to Brice, who is here. Thank you very much.